have almost everybody here. I never have any contact that they cannot make it, but just in case. Can you start over, Angelos, for introduction, and then I move it to Arlo. Thank you.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, just once again, my name is Angelos Hanna, and I'm currently getting my master's in transportation engineering here at USC, and I also work full time as an ITS engineer at Iteris, and I'm mainly doing design over there. I'm doing some field work, some signal timing, some integration of our systems, um, and yeah, happy to be sharing here today.
I can go next. I'm Arlo Fisher. I graduated from USC in December 2022. I did my master's in transportation engineering, and I also did my undergrad in industrial engineering at USC. I now work as an aviation planner at HNTB in Northern California, and I passed my FE exam, I think, in April 2022 about, and then I actually recently in April 2025 this year passed my PE exam. So I'm quite familiar with the kind of testing over there. So happy to talk about it today.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you and congratulations, Arlo. I didn't know. This is great. Uh, all right. George, do you want to move forward?
Sure, yes. Congrats on the P as well. So my
Yeah.
name is George Martinez. I graduated back in 2023 from the Transportation Masters program, and I am currently working at HDR in the Dallas office in the as a transportation EIT for the planning department. So I'm mostly doing design work over there.
Mhm. Perfect. Thank you. And maybe you all know me. Anybody else on the panel? I mean, I see so many names here, but I won't be able to recognize Gabriel yet. But anyway, I'll introduce myself and the floor is yours. My name is Roxana Javid. I am a faculty of Civil and Environmental Engineering and also the director of the transportation programs there. And happy to be here to listen and learn from our EITs. And thank you so much for being here. All right, so go ahead.
Okay. Professor, do you have the presentation or would you like me to share it?
I have it and I have your names at the first page. Do you want me to share that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. I'll share that and then let me know whenever you want to move forward. Okay,
Sure.
so hold on. Do you see my screen?
It says started screen sharing. There we
Yeah.
go.
Okay, good. So I have um your names and then I move forward to I think why we need EIT basically, and then let me know whenever you want to move forward to the next step.
Okay. Um, I guess Arlo and Jorge, I can go ahead and get started, and you guys can chime in at any time, and take it away at any time. Because I know each of our experiences here is unique with this exam, and we've all probably had our stories with this exam, maybe some horror stories, maybe some learning experiences from it. Um, I took the FE back in my, so I graduated undergrad in 2022, and then I started working full time in that winter time and in November. And didn't I didn't get my FE until I was well into my career working full time. And a lot of people gave some advice to take the FE.
Hi, can I get one where is it? Thai iced tea, please? Yeah. Can you add boba, please? Half. You can only.
There we go. Um, yeah, so I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of advice, especially if you're an undergrad majoring civil engineering or any type of engineering, that you should get your FE before you graduate. So I was somebody that didn't listen to that advice. I actually got my FE about a year and a half after I graduated and was working full time. So obviously that's not ideal, and hopefully we can give you guys some advice so that you're not in my shoes. Um, But as you guys can see here, why do I want to become an EIT? Because a lot of these major companies, as you could see here, AECOM, HDR, Jacobs, and I'm sure H&TB as well. Um, the number one thing that you're going to see over here on the qualifications that you have an EIT or an engineering and training or an ability to obtain within 6 months. So it's really a cornerstone of if you want any real entry level design job, any entry level engineering job in the industry, this is pretty crucial to obtain this. So we can go on to the next slide. So where do you guys need to start? You start at the NCEES website. It's the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying, and I believe it's ncees.org. So, and then when you get in there, it's gonna ask for your personal information, your school information, your education information, and your like some questions about your work experience, internship experiences. Um if you're getting your degree from an ABET accredited school, which I'm pretty sure most of them are, if you're getting an engineering degree. I could be wrong about that, but yeah. And then you're gonna want to uh, put an exam registration in when you schedule your exam. So you're going to register for, so it's here in the exam dashboard and you hit on exams and then it's going to give you that green button, register for exam. And you pick that time and the location. So actually that time that you schedule for the exam is tentative and you can reschedule it up to 48 hours in advance. But once you register, you can move that as many times as you want as long as it's 48 hours before the exam. If you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that was the case for me. I only know that from personal experience because I kept pushing the exam further and further back when I was unsure of my study methods.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing too. I think I pushed it back a month because I wasn't ready, but I mean, it's nice they allow you to do that. And then I guess one thing I wanted to note on this slide is um this screenshot is showing, registering for the FE civil exam. And you might have heard I did my undergrad in industrial engineering, so
Mhm.
at this point I had not taken as many civil classes, so I ended up taking my FE in industrial engineering. And so if you, I assume most people listening are probably civil majors, but that did not prohibit me from taking my PE exam as a civil engineer later on. So, because I actually asked them, emailed and asked the California board, I took my FE exam in industrial engineering. Am I able to take the civil PE exam? And that is allowed. So you can do a different discipline for the FE exam. It's more of just kind of a checkbox to get that EIT credential. But once you have an EIT credential in any of the engineering disciplines offered, then you can take any PE that you are qualified for. So that's just a note to make in case someone was thinking about taking a PE exam that is not civil, or if you, or sorry, FE exam that's not civil, or you want to become a PE in a different engineering field.
Good to know. Interesting. I didn't know. That's good to know. And then can you elaborate a little bit? I tried to like bring up some question here, one like once we were talking on this slide, then we have time at the end in case a student have more question. But can you like give us like a timeline when I go online and register for exam? Is it gonna give me like a month ahead? How booked it is? Like, is it available right away or? Should I plan for 3 months?
I
Yeah.
think it depends on the testing center, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Depends.
okay. So you can select the testing center as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. And
So
then, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, in terms of availability, in my personal experience, um, there's kind of some hot periods of the year,
Hmm.
especially after like a spring semester when a lot of new graduates are finishing up school. They're gonna want to take the test um, around the summertime. That's typically the case, and
Hmm.
so for me, I scheduled mine around September time because that was when the demand was a little less. But if you could find one in July, then yeah, it just depends on the testing site that you find, and then you could get lucky and you could see some appointments the very next week, or you could see
Hmm.
some maybe a month or two in advance. But I would venture to say like most times are around a month or two in advance. I don't know if for the PE that's the same thing, Arlo.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I think maybe it's anything within the month was probably booked out already. And I mean, the availability, yeah, I think it really varies on the testing center. So if you don't see
Hmm.
what you want at a certain testing center, if you're willing to drive a little further, it's worth looking at different places if they have a better date that you're looking for. But I would say, yeah, plan a few months in advance to be safe.
Okay, great. And then at this point that you pick the date, is you already paid for the exam, or after you pick the date and then you have to pay, and how that process is like basically here. And then how much does it cost roughly, if you remember?
I believe the FE was around 225,
Mhm.
and yeah, and I believe you paid up front, and then
Mhm.
you do not have to pay after that. But after you paid up front, you could reschedule it as many times as you'd like, as long as it's within that window. And they'll
Okay,
specify that window of when you can how far in advance you can reschedule up to.
great. Thank you. If a student have any question related to this, like scheduling and picking time, let us know. If not, if we move forward, we always have time to come back to this slide. There you go.
Okay.
I think this is the book coming with the when you register for the exam. Yeah. Did you use this book or?
Yeah, so this is one of the popular books that they recommend that you use to study for
Mhm.
the exam. At least I was seeing within some forums like on Reddit and different groups and people, but me personally, I do not recommend using this Lindenberg book because the problem bank is very, very dense and there is the questions are not structured kind of the same as NCES, their board structures the questions.
Interesting. This is not the first time I'm hearing that our student didn't use this. Next slide, I think, is going to be the resources that we can elaborate, like other resources than this textbook. But if Arlo and George, you want to chime in and add if you use this or what was your experience with this, or if you skip it.
No, I didn't use that one. I mostly study from a YouTube channel,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
especially
and I got some free tests online in a couple
Hmm.
websites, which I still do have. But yeah, I didn't use the one from the testing site.
Yeah, I could say when I believe it's still like this, but when you register for the exam, they will ask you, would you like to purchase a practice exam that's from the
Hmm.
NCES company? And that's all I used to study is I just took that book and then
Hmm.
I did all the problems in it and then reviewed my work to see what I got wrong. And then if there were certain
Hmm.
like I think also I read there's a topic list on the website for the testing and you can
Hmm.
see it'll list all the different topics for your discipline. So I just made sure I was kind of familiar with those topics. And if not, yeah, I think
Hmm.
YouTube was a really good resource. Although I'd say for my PE exam, I did that. It says that PPI to pass.com. They have an
Hmm.
online resource that you can subscribe to, and they have it for FE as well. And I thought it was really valuable to have the online resource because the computer or the test is computer based. So it's like nice to be
Oh,
able to do problems online because that's how it's going to be for you. And I thought I had a really good experience with their web-based services. It is a little pricier. Thankfully, my
hmm.
employer will help me pay for it, so it was a little easier for me to, foot the bill for that. But if you're feeling like you would want more kind of practice, I think they're
Hmm.
online. I would recommend that ppitopass.com. I thought their online
Okay.
resources have been updated, have been pretty good for me.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you. Anything else, or should I move forward to that a YouTube channel? Maybe is it the one that you use,
Yeah,
George?
That's the
yeah,
one. Yeah.
this is the one. So yeah, George mentioned it. This is Mark Matson. He's
Hmm.
a professor. I forget which university he lectures at, but he's a civil and structural engineering
Hmm.
professor, and he designed a very, very good free, completely free program on YouTube to follow along for the FE prep. I don't you I'm so George, you used it as well, and Arlo, I don't know if you went through Mark Matson for your FE prep.
Yeah, I went through him, and yeah, for the most part, like the math, statistics, and like mechanics was the ones I needed the most, and he does a
Yeah.
pretty good job at explaining all of the topics in depth, and he has plenty of exercises to do.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's very sorry, Arlo, go ahead.
no, no, no. It was me. Sorry, I was just confirming. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go.
Yeah, so it's actually structured and it's very easy to follow along. So for me, I took the exam a couple years out of undergrad, like so I wasn't refreshed in my topics, which I don't recommend.
Hmm.
I recommend that you guys get started on this in your last year of studies, if
Hmm.
after you grad right after you graduate, while the information's fresh. But this is the most perfect way, in my opinion, to refresh your mind. So as you can see, he has a link on his on in the description of his YouTube videos where he has a list of problems, and you could download PDFs like straight onto your iPad or whatever tablet that you use. And he has all of his practice problems that he goes through in his videos. Um, and those practice problems are old uh, from old FE exams issued straight from NCEES.
Hmm.
So that is right from the source, and he goes through those problems thoroughly, just as if you would have gone through a practice problem in your undergraduate course. So as you can see, there's math, statics, mechanics of materials, all of these different topics. There's dynamics and fluid mechanics and environmental engineering. So he goes through any topic that you feel that you need to brush up on and get refreshed with. It's a very nice way to structure your studying and follow along. So me personally, I started with going through all of his FE topics and just going through each of those problems, and then after that, actually I'll get to that in a second here. But yeah, he's a very, very valuable resource, very easy to follow along. He goes through the problems in a way that's very easy to understand, which is great.
Nice. Any other resource? I mean, I believe we discussed this. So the next one I have on the list is the book that they give you, that probably some of you use, like maybe although you stick with the book that they provide, or maybe some other student they prefer that method. But any other resources? I know there are some paid courses. Anybody use that type of resources, like the one or any online textbook that they can buy? I have some list from previous student. I can share it in the chat if you want to like copy and save it somewhere. Just in case maybe you found it interesting. Let me once you're talking, I can just explore and find it on my desktop and put it here. The next item I have on the PowerPoint is the textbook and also the hours for the exam and everything.
Yeah, so this is the FE reference handbook. This is the gold standard. It has every formula that is provided on the exam, and this is what you take with you into the
Mm-hmm.
exam itself. They're gonna have a PDF that you can use during the exam, but the most important part is to learn how to navigate this reference handbook. Like when you see a question and you know that, oh, this is a fluid mechanics question. Okay, let me go into the reference handbook, and you just kind of know where to navigate, and you know where to find what you're looking for in order to solve that problem so that you can minimize that time because the test is 6 hours long, including a 5 minutes of instruction and then a 25-minute break. So it really averages out to about 2 minutes a question. So you want to spend as little time possible trying just scrolling through that reference handbook PDF, and you want to get yourself familiar with it when you're studying and use that as your main resource. It's really the gold standard for studying and the number one thing that you need for this exam.
Perfect. Great. So the exam is 6 hours, and then you do have a break. That's nice, at least. Anything else
110
other people?
questions. It's 110 questions.
110 questions. So it's like 2 and something minutes. Yeah, you really need to jump into the right section with that timing. Perfect. Now the calculator, if you want to like mention, did you remember which calculator you use, or did you recommend this one, or is there any limitation on the calculator?
It does recommend the TI. I could see that right here. Me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I'm a Casio FX user.
Yeah.
Those both authorized. There is a list of if you find it on exam prep right there,
Mm-hmm.
that will show you a list of what you
Okay,
need to
here.
bring with you to the exam. But
Oh,
any basic scientific calculator, basically the Texas Instruments or the Casio one are the recommended ones, but it'll give you a list of the exact model numbers that you are allowed to bring in with you to the test. So be careful. Don't bring in a graphing calculator they won't let you into the exam with that, and you're going to be stuck with the calculator on the screen. And you don't want it. That's the last thing you need when you're trying to solve
uh-oh.
these problems quickly.
Okay, good to know. All right, remember that you have to follow this exam prep section to make sure that your calculator is compatible and you can carry it with yourself. So many of them ask this question, like student, like how many should I answer correctly to pass the exam? And I want your input here to share with them.
If any of you guys want to take it away?
Yeah, I think for these exams, it's never truly published what the number of correct answers you need is. I think it hovers around 70 to 80% of
Mhm.
them. So it's hard to really know what it is, but I think, yeah, when people have kind of reported back, it's been 70 to 80% correct.
Yeah, no, there's not a right amount to tell anyone that asks this question. It's just trying to do the best you can because there's not a minimum, right?
Yeah, it's based on the performance of the examinees
The
that particular
whole
day, I believe.
the whole group, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the answer that they said. So any strategy that you have for yourself, like any anything that you think like you're better in one section, then you're gonna start with that at least, or anything that you never study and you try to skip. Did you select any random answers, or is it gonna affect negatively to your score, something like that? Those kind of tips and tricks for a student?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that.
Mhm.
I think in terms of, there's a lot of different testing strategies. If there's stuff you know, I would say do that and know the stuff that you know, study it well and know it very good. Let's say you're really good at that like mathematics and
Mhm.
statistics part. Just if you see any of those problems and you'll know how to do all of them, definitely don't hesitate to do those. Yeah, there were a couple things I remember I just had never seen this problem before in my studies or anywhere, and that's just going to happen sometimes. And it's always worth hazarding a guess. It's better to
Mhm.
have a guess than not, because that's a 25% chance of you getting it right. I
Mhm.
don't think they have a penalty on this exam for getting a wrong answer, so you might as well, give yourself that chance or at least eliminate some. So I think, yeah, definitely go through the exam and obviously kind of skipping, you have to remember to come back to them. I don't know if they still have it on or if it's on the FE exam, but there was a way to kind of like flag ones you missed on the PE exam.
Mhm.
I guess, yeah, you guys can tell me if they still have that, but that was a really helpful tool.
Yeah, I believe it's still there.
Yeah, they still have it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was great because then, you won't forget to come back to it like a paper test when you kind of forget to go back to it. So that's really nice to use that tool where you can flag the ones to revisit. Um, and then, yeah, I think don't spend too much time on any particular question. As we were saying, there's about 2 minutes per question. So if it's something you really can't figure out, it's probably not worth your time if you have other things on the table. But if you have like finished all the other problems, and I think what happened to me is I finished early. And then I finally revisited the ones that I still hadn't answered, and I tried because I had more time then, but some of them, unfortunately, like could not get the answer. So on some of them I just got to move on, and that happens. But since you requires or 70 to 80% correct, it's okay to have a few of those where you don't know. Hopefully you studied well enough that that doesn't happen all the time, but that did happen to me, and thankfully it was okay.
Very good. All right. So there are some suggestion here that I mean I guess you already discussed your part of the story, that how do you like come up with uh like any guess that you may have for question that you have no idea, or you start with the parts that you feel like better about them. Like you always have the right answer in math, probably, or maybe the static part or something. And I think we already discussed some tips and tricks here. Let me see what I have next. Um,
I will say,
yeah,
Professor, that like these slides did show that. So Arlo
the
mentioned
previous
also,
one. Do you want me to go to this one?
we could, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that under exam prep on the website, they
Mhm.
issue an official practice exam, which Arlo mentioned that he used as well. Um, and that is like one of the perfect tools to use for the exam, where you can kind of run through it and run through the timing of it yourself independently.
Mhm.
And then after that, you can kind of grade yourself and see how you're performing on each subject. And then after you grade yourself on that performance, you kind of work on those problems where you felt like you struggled on those subjects that you felt you were doing a little less on, and just kind of keep chipping away at those types of problems so that you feel a little more comfortable with them on the day of the exam. But that exam that they issue to you, it says that it's 34.95 here. Personally, I think it's a good investment. I think it's worth that small investment that you make for the exam, because that's probably what's going to prepare you the most for the types of questions that you're going to be exposed to on the exam. And
Very
it's a good
nice.
it's a good barometer to practice the timing as well. To
Yeah.
see, oh, did I finish this in time, or did I finish behind and I need
Mhm.
to pick up my pace a little bit? And you kind of have that side by side with the handbook, the reference handbook, and
Mhm.
kind of learn how to master both of those.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good option here. Perfect. Any other input here, or shall we move forward to the next slide? Yeah. Okay. So this is the last one I think I have here. So basically, like kind of wrapping up everything here that you mentioned. After you have your FE exam pass, you probably need to kind of submit the document that they request, maybe to get your EIT. How is that process? Because a lot of students are confused the difference between FE and EIT, and like if they need to be graduated before they apply for EIT, something like that.
Yeah, so you'll get a notification that you passed after the exam, and the Board of Professional Engineers, Land Surveyors, and Geologists, I believe, they post their next steps in order for you to obtain that EIT license. Um, I believe it's a purchase that you have to purchase the license, and you have to go into if you go into any local mail shop, you could do the fingerprint and the live scan,
Mhm.
because that is required by the state for you to get an EIT issued, the EIT license issued. So it'll outline those steps after you examine, after you pass. It'll kind of say, congratulations on passing your FE. here, and then there will be a button that will say next steps.
Mhm.
And Professor, I think I could send you an attachment of what it would show you if you do pass the
Nice.
exam. Yeah.
That would be nice. Great. So then they can apply and then they probably have to wait some time to get their certificate. Is it like a reasonable period of time? Is it the wait list there or no? Is it
You
like a
guys,
quick?
do you guys remember how long it took for you?
I think it
I
was a few weeks here in
Yeah.
Texas. I don't know over there in California, but yeah, there was a few weeks I had to wait to get the stamp, like the certificate they give you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard it's not right away. So if they're planning for like job related purposes or, they have some deadline approaching, plan ahead. It's gonna take a while. Of course, you pass the FE, but that's not EITs. You have to go through the whole process here. Perfect. Anything else that you would like to add before I start like putting those references, or if you want to send anything in the chat? You feel free. Student, please feel free to ask your question. Usually at this time we open for questions. If you have some, other than we pretty much cover a lot of topics, but um, do you want to talk a little bit about like your center? I know it's center by center, but is it you know parking available? How do you turn on turn off your phone and turn it in? Is a mailbox there that you can lock your things there? Um, can you bring drinks or snacks? Can you talk about those things there?
Yeah. I personally took the test in Anaheim.
Mhm.
If you guys are local to Southern California or Orange County or LA County, and there's a parking structure on site with free parking, and the testing center you can bring a water bottle, I believe, and if you do have a light snack and your cell phone, you have to leave those in a locker over in the
Mhm.
testing center, but they give you a key to the locker and you could take that inside with you to the exam. But yeah, I would bring water, of course, and I would bring a light snack for that 25-minute break. Um, and yeah,
Perfect. Thank you. Any other question from, and then again, you can reschedule the exam after you book it, and then you don't need to pay any rescheduling fee. Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes, as
good.
long as it's within 48 hours of the exam. But they'll specify that for you on the website. It might be 24 hours, but
All right, perfect. And then this might not be the case for you, but you may know about it. I have a question here that says, if you don't pass the exam for the first time or anytime, then do you have a period of time that you have to wait before retaking the exam?
I believe that period is 90 days if you do not pass the exam.
So you
Um,
cannot take it for the next, like you cannot take two exam back to back. You have to wait for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah.
yeah, I believe it's a period of about 3 months.
All right, George, you want to chime in?
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah, I remember it was. I did some research about that just in case, but yeah, I think it's like a period of 3 4 months, and then you cannot take it more than I think 3 times within a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
you cannot take it more than three times within a year. Yeah,
yes,
with the 90 days in between, that would make sense probably. And
right.
then I have another question that says, is there like a, like a cap number of limits that you can take FE? Probably after a year, you can take as many as you want. Yeah. There's just the 3 months in between.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, do you remember? I mean, it's very personal. I have this. What subject you think is the hardest to complete?
I guess I didn't take the civil exam, so it might be a little different, but I
Yeah.
if I recall the way it was structured is there's some kind of like general like math questions that could be on any engineering, and then there was some niche specific like industrial questions. And
Hmm.
for me, it's like, okay, I've been taking math classes in college for 4 years now. So all that math stuff, I've been doing statistics every year. And that was fine for me. But for me, like there were some really niche like topics that I just hadn't taken coursework on that.
Hmm.
And those were the most challenging because you can't possibly know all of these things. But what really helped me is just, the years of having math and like statistics in high school, even into college. So those ones I felt really good about, but there were some just like niche topics that I'd
Yeah.
never seen before that those were more challenging for me.
Very nice. Like I agree. Some like math and general topics might be a little bit easier too for some people, for some may not. They may have some focus on specialized areas. So it's very personal. Can you confirm if all the questions were multiple choices or you have mix of multiple choice and free response or short answers?
Yeah, there's a few where you could select all that apply, and then
Mhm.
there's a few where like you are kind of matching topics to the subject.
Okay. So that's the answer for that. Then I have another question. Um, as a new grad student, they're asking if they can take FE for a year. Is that mandatory? I don't think that's the case. They heard something that they cannot take as a grad student. I think everybody can take FE anytime.
Open to anyone.
Yeah, yeah, you can take if you are a grad student, go ahead and take it. Don't wait until the last semester or the second year. I had this question before, and I think this session saved you 2 years. Go ahead and do it right now. It's just like the level of confidence that you have, that the more senior you are, you feel like you have more subject covered in your courses. But at the same time, when you get the, the preparation material, you learn the topics and then you can practice. It's not necessarily to like wait until you finish the coursework. All right. They said you have to pay for each time that you retake the exam. Is it correct? So it's not
Yes.
like the DMV test that you pay once and you can take 3 times. It's once you pay for each exam each time you take it, and if you fail, you have to pay to retake it. Yes, great.
Yes, and they also, if you don't pass, they'll give you a diagnostic report of which questions you
Oh,
got wrong so that you could actually see which areas you need to work on. But if you pass, they won't tell you what you got right or
what you
wrong. You
got?
just you pass. Just don't think about it ever again. But they do
Okay.
give people diagnostic reports if you don't pass.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Did I miss any question in the chat or are you okay. Would you say experience in internship jobs or field work help passing the exam? I think PE probably yes. I'm not sure about FE.
Yeah, for FE, it is mainly your undergraduate studies.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cover most of this exam. There is an ethics section that you may like have more familiarity and it may feel more common sense if you have some experience in a workplace.
Yeah, great. All right. So yeah, it's like to me, it's also like the same. It's mostly uh it doesn't need like work experience to pass FE. That's why they usually recommend to take it when you are an undergrad student. So, but it definitely help if you work and you know some, you have probably some deeper knowledge in some areas if you start working in those topics. I have another question, say, any suggestion on how to distribute time effectively throughout the exam? Like how do we allocate time based on the type of question or topics? I guess like Gigo, you said like based on the number of question and the total time of 6 hours minus the break time, you have like 2 minutes and half, you said, for each exam almost for each question.
I believe it's about 2 minutes.
It's about 2 minutes. So some questions are easier, probably some are harder. You need more time. But I guess this question goes back like to each person because some and then the type of the exam you're saying, if it's civil, they have different topics, and other engineering majors they do have different topics. And they say, is there any specific distribution of question based on the topic? Yes, I think they are.
It was on the slides there.
Yeah.
It's also on the website, but there was a slide in the slide deck that
Mm-hmm.
shows it's going to say 8 to 12 questions in the mathematics section. It's going to show
Mm-hmm.
6 questions in the ethics section.
Yeah, I believe there was a slide there. And then engineering economics, 5 to 8 question. It is on the website when you go.
Yeah,
And even if you register, they're gonna give you that preview as well. So it's nothing that you need to guess. It's all there. But the exact question, the number of question is not, it's a 5 to 8. It can be 5, 6, 7, or 8 question. It's variable each time. All right. Any other question? Let me see. I have one more. Um, to get your PE, you need 2, 3 years of experience. I think maybe 4 even, yeah. And 3 recommendation from other PEs who took the exam. Is it correct, Arlo?
It's very variable on state, depending on the
Mm-hmm.
state you live in. I can talk to California. For
Mm-hmm.
reference, I haven't actually applied for the PE licensure yet, but in California, you're allowed to take the PE exam without applying to be a PE or anything. Like the
Mm-hmm.
exam is kind of similar to how the FE and
Separate.
the EIT are separate
Mm-hmm.
processes. You can take the PE at any time, and then it won't doesn't like expire. You can just kind of, I think for work experience now, they've actually reduced it in California. So if you have an undergraduate degree. I believe it's 2 years of experience in professional world under I guess 2 years of experience under a PE working. So you have to get
Okay.
all of your work experience kind of signed off by PEs you
Mm-hmm.
work under. And then if you have a master's degree, it's only 1 year to get that. So it's nice. It's a little bit. But it really depends on the state, so you'd have to check their licensure board if you're doing a different state
Mm-hmm.
than California. And then in California, the process is, yeah, you take the PE exam, pass, and then that makes you eligible to apply for PE licensure, and you get kind of your work references all put together. And then after that, in California, for civil, at least you have to take 2 additional exams, like a surveying and seismic exam, and that's California for you. There's extra stuff depending on, the type of seismic activity we have here in the state.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the process that California has for PE, but I do know, I mean, most states there isn't an additional exam. So like once you pass the PE, you could become a PE in a different state. There is also I'll just mention like to keep up with like continuing education. Some other states have that where you have to continue to kind of renew your license, but in California, I guess they kind of have you take the extra tests up front and you don't have to do any continuing licensure. I guess that's at least for, I don't know about structural, but I did my civil PE and transportation specifically because that's my interest. So that one, it just, yeah, you pass the exams and then you're a PE in California for life, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
best practice, but that's how it is. So.
It is really nice, and thanks for sharing those information. I think I they said thank you, and I have like one more question because we kind of address it. I want to just confirm. They ask what is the difference between FE and EIT?
Yeah, FE is just the name of the exam, Fundamentals of Engineering exam, and then EIT is Engineering Training. So it's just kind of like that's like the title you can get. And I think people use FE kind of like PE is, but FE is just the exam. Like there's kind of no other way that's used. And then once you get that EIT credential, that's kind of what actually applies. But it's just kind of the FE is the prerequisite to EIT credential.
Yeah, so EIT is the certificate, but you have to have FE passed in order to apply for that certificate. Perfect. Great. And I don't see anything else. I'm gonna paste these resources that I have from all the panels or student who has and used them before. These few are like paid courses that I personally don't have, but our student used them before. Maybe if you are working, your employers um pay for that maybe. If not, the totally fine. I'm pasting the YouTube channel and the book, which is not very expensive, that you may want to explore or maybe borrow. And this is the second, so I'll paste them in the chat if you want to copy. And if I miss your question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, we should be on time to wrap up the session. Any further question? Thank you everybody for being here. And I usually receive these question in the session that student would like to know what they have ahead of them. And thank you for sharing your experience. Panel members, wish you a very happy holidays ahead, like in general this week and future. And then thank you for giving back as always. And our student Angelos, thank you for sharing your experience. It's very inspiring that students see like as they are student, they still can pass the FE and BEIT. And Arla, thank you for sharing your PE experience with us. I think you are one of a few students that I heard so far who like do the PE before like they get to that point that they can be a PE really like that 3-4 years of work. I'm sure that you get there, but like a lot of students they waited until it's just mid-career to get their PE. But I'm glad that you did it. And it's almost like possible to do them back to back. Like you get the FE and then you can just do PE. Just keep your exam there. It won't expire. It will sit there until you become a PE by practice. And then thank you, George. I know it's a different time zone there, and thank you for sharing your experience with your EIT. It's a great experience that it's different state by state. And thanks for joining us. Everybody, thank you for being here. If you have any question, you all know my email, and I'm going to send it in chat. Okay, it's my email address. If you want any further information, let me know. And wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and happy holiday break, and talk soon. Thank you.
Great session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great session. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.